he was removed for political reasons, that there was some political intervention in his case. How do you respond to that?
I'm not going to make any comments on that because obviously it is an ongoing court situation. But I will repeat how incredibly important it is that everyone who serves in the Canadian Armed Forces has an environment that is safe and supportive. We need to make sure that anyone who comes forward with allegations, with concerns, is receiving the proper support, the proper resources, but at the same time that we work to transform the culture of our Canadian Armed Forces so it is more worthy of all the extraordinary women and men who continue to step up to serve in Canada, to fight forest fires here in BC, to help people around the world in Afghanistan and in so many other ways. Our Canadian forces deserve the best kind of support, and that is the transformation that our Minister of Defense and our entire team has been working on so hard for so many years. Je ne vais pas commenter sur le cas particulier parce qu'on le sait que c'est devant la Cour, mais je vais rappeler ma position là-dessus, que c'est que chaque femme et homme qui choisit de servir dans nos forces armées mérite d'avoir toutes les ressources et tout l'appui nécessaire si ils vivent des choses inacceptables à l'intérieur des forces armées. Nous savons qu'on doit transformer nos forces armées pour qu'ils soient à la hauteur de la qualité et de l'engagement des femmes et des hommes qui choisissent d'y servir. On voit que nos forces font une job extraordinaire, que ce soit ici en Colombie-Britannique contre les feux de forêt, que ce soit en Afghanistan, que ce soit partout à travers le pays, le monde. Ils méritent d'avoir une culture et un environnement qui les protège et qui les appuie. Et c'est ce sur quoi nous travaillons depuis bien des années et nous allons continuer d'y travailler.
Thank you. Next question.
Good morning, Mr. Trudeau. Ashley Burke, CBC News. I understand you can't comment on the specifics of Major General Denny Fortin's case, but just broadly, when it comes to cases like his and others, do you feel that yourself and your ministers are appropriately handling these cases? And as well, how do you defend your record on harassment when the military right now is in chaos?
Well, we have seen over the past number of months the extent to which the Canadian Armed Forces has not been to the level it needs to be to protect all women and men who choose to serve. We've seen a culture that has not been what people deserve when they choose to serve in the military. From the very beginning, we brought forward a number of different measures over the past number of years to improve the culture in the military, to make sure that all workplaces and public servants, including the military, have better recourses and resources when they choose to come forward with unacceptable actions. But we know there's more to do, which is why we appointed Lieutenant General Carignan to lead within the forces on this issue, and why we asked Louise Arbour to look into how we can create lasting transformative change that's going to make a difference for the women and men in the armed forces and ensure that our Canadian armed forces are strong enough and properly equipped to welcome in Canadians who want to serve and support them in the incredibly important work they're going to be doing throughout their career. Nous avons reconnu depuis le début qu'il fallait transformer nos forces armées. On a pris des mesures concrètes depuis plusieurs années, mais évidemment, il reste énormément de plus à faire, comme on le voit. C'est pour ça qu'on est très content d'avoir la lieutenant-générale Carignan en train de mener la bataille à l'intérieur des forces pour mieux appuyer quiconque s'avance avec des préoccupations ou des incidents inacceptables. En même temps, nous avons demandé à la juge Louise Arbour de nous dresser une piste, un parcours à suivre pour changer de façon fondamentale et d'améliorer la culture à l'intérieur des forces armées pour qu'on puisse avoir des forces qui sont à la hauteur de la qualité des gens qui choisissent de servir leur pays en s'impliquant.
Following up.
And a question for Minister Sajjan. You're going to have two generals who are in criminal court during this election campaign. How do you defend your record on this file to your constituents?
Excuse me, just 1 second. No, as the Prime Minister has stated, We've been focused on day one to making sure that we have transferable change within the Canadian Armed Forces. And it takes time. And any time that somebody comes forward, we want to make sure that all the survivors are supported. And that's exactly what we've been doing. As we learn more information and we need to learn from those various lessons, we will make the various changes that are necessary. And as Prime Minister stated, this is one of the reasons why we made the changes, why General Carrion is leading an organization that will bring that change. Louise Arbour, who's going to be working on that longer-term transformational change that's actually needed. From lived experience from myself, I know it takes time, but we have to remain strong and committed to this, to making sure that the Canadian Armed Forces, when they step forward, they get the support that they need, because we want to make sure that the Canadian Armed Forces is inclusive of all, making sure that we have more women in the Canadian Armed Forces, greater diversity, because this is what's going to make us stronger. And we have seen this impact overseas, and to use that diversity and gender equity, that has an impact on operational deployments.
Next question.
Bonjour, M. Trudeau. Louis Blouin de Radio-Canada. Je veux revenir sur le résultat de l'élection hier en Nouvelle-Écosse, défaite surprise des libéraux en Nouvelle-Écosse. Quel avertissement retenez-vous pour votre campagne?
Dans quelque élection que ce soit, c'est important d'être à l'écoute des citoyens, d'être là pour leur proposer une vision forte de l'avenir, et c'est exactement ce que nous sommes en train de faire dans cette élection. On voit un choix clair auquel les Canadiens font face, entre un parti qui va continuer de mener la charge contre les changements climatiques, va continuer de s'ancrer dans la science pour lutter contre la COVID-19 et s'assurer qu'on prenne toutes les mesures nécessaires pour protéger tout le monde, un gouvernement qui va investir dans un système de petite enfance et de garderie, qui va créer des opportunités de logement abordable pour les familles. C'est les enjeux qui préoccupent les Canadiens et c'est exactement de ça qu'on est en train de parler et c'est le choix que les Canadiens auront à faire pour les années à venir dans ce moment extrêmement important dans la vie de notre pays.
Je veux revenir sur la question de la vaccination.